It's Wednesday, November 11th, 2020. I just got finished watching the video of Governor Tim Walz, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, telling us what we're allowed to do, to stop the spread of COVID-19, the most deadly disease on all planet Earth. Minnesota, it's time to stop being Minnesota nice, okay? It's time to stop. What are we doing putting up with this nonsense? In his little press conference, he came out and said, we think it's okay to, meet with our families and have our own little barbecue at our house, and me included. I've done that where I've invited people over. And we just think that's okay. But what we're going to find here with all my cute little graphs and information, we're going to find out that that is not okay. That behavior is not okay. To invite your family over to your house is not okay. Because there's a deadly plague spiking right now, and we need to contain it. Okay? This is what's going on. The bars and restaurants. That's how they roll it out, thinking that it's only affecting bars and restaurants. And then it gets into a little bit of, ceremonies like weddings and funerals. Yeah, those are great ceremonies to have, but we just need to, understand that we need to just limit the capacity a little bit. We're not trying to ruin anyone's fun, but I understand it's ruining people's fun. They put up on the slideshow that it applies to weddings, funerals, and similar events or something like that. But you go to their website, and the guidance is under, what's it under? It's under places of worship, religious services, weddings, and funerals. Okay? And it talks about the new attendance limits. Beginning November 27th, there is a 50-person limit. Okay? 50-person limit for places of worship, religious services. 50 people limit. Okay? And then starting 2 weeks before Christmas, December 11th, 25-person limit. They didn't mention that in the news conference that it applies to religious services, to places of worship, to church, okay? 2 weeks before Christmas, you're limited to 25 people in your church. Okay, this is what I want to know. Did we learn anything the first time that they shut the thing down? Did we learn anything? I'm concerned, okay? The church is going to put up with this. Do you understand? The church is complicit, compliant, going along with this. What's going to happen? There's not going to be any Christmas service. We already closed down Easter earlier this year, and now there's not going to be any Christmas. Okay, church, I'm telling you right now, okay, I'm at about a 6 right now. You don't want to see me get to a 10, okay? Governor Walz, yeah, he's a tyrant. But the bigger problem is the church that's allowing it to happen. You're allowing this to happen because you did it back in March and all throughout the summer. You did your Romans 13, I'm listening to my rulers, okay? And now they're telling you are not allowed to have church service with more than 25 people 2 weeks before Christmas. Are you going to put up with that? You have a chance now, okay? You have a chance now to do something to stand against this evil. If you can't see at this point that what's going on right now with COVID is not about mitigating a disease. It's not. If you can't see that there is a political agenda against the church, you are deceived. You are deceived. And my question to the church is, who is putting up with this? You can't claim Romans 13. You cannot claim Romans 13 and saying you're obeying your rulers. Fact check on this. We don't have rulers in the United States of America. We don't have rulers. We have the Constitution of the United States. It's the highest law in the land. Okay? We don't have tyrants. We don't have kings. We don't have rulers. The Constitution is the highest law in the land. So when a governor comes along and tells you how many people you can have in your church and what you have to do in order for your doors to be open, you tell the governor, no. He has no right over your church on what you do in your church. Okay? He has no authority. He has no authority. So why are you listening to them? Why are you listening to them? And then you'll say, well, I'm just loving my neighbor by putting my mask on. Loving your neighbor, that's what you want to bank on. Loving your neighbor. Show me in the Bible where Jesus ever loved people by sending them away if they had a fever. The sick people that came to him for healing. Did he ever say, back up 6 feet? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. So what are you doing? False love messages, okay? Oh, here's another one. Maybe you're getting that CARES Act money. And now there's $10 million more that Walt is talking about to get people through this next little phase. You looking for some of that money? Or are you trying to be a good community-minded, citizen and do what's right for the community because you want to be a community partner and you're worried about your image in the community? I got news for you. None of that is biblical. None of that is following the Spirit of God. And you know it. You know it, church. You know it, pastor. This is the second test. You've already been tested once and you failed by closing, by requiring, masks and doing temperature checks and having registration for your church and saying people can't sing unless they have a mask on, not having fellowship, not having children's church. You're shut down. If you're following any of that, you think you're open? No, you are shut down. You are closed. That ain't open. That ain't open. So now you have a second chance. You have a second chance. Are you going to stand up and say no to this disgusting, demonic attack on the church? Are you going to say anything and stand for your God-given right to gather in church, to have fellowship, to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ? Are you going to say anything? Or are you just going to worry what the governor's going to think about you? Are you going to worry about getting fined? Are you going to worry about getting arrested? The Bible says there'll come a time when you're carried off to jail for the sake of Jesus, for proclaiming his name. You're going to be carried off to jail. Not because you did anything wrong, because you believed in Jesus. And if you're afraid of going to jail, getting fined, or being, looked down upon in the community, what the world thinks of you, you're not operating in the Spirit. You're not. And I'd like to see anyone make the case that you are. I would like to see anyone make the case that you are. Okay? I want to call on Minnesotans in general to say no to these orders, these mandates, whatever recommendations, strong recommendations. I don't even know what they are. They're not laws because it's all unconstitutional. Notice this. It's not a law, okay? Because the governor knows he can't tell you what to do in your church because it's violating the First Amendment. Your right, your God-given natural right to assemble peaceably and to practice your faith, okay? He knows that he can't mandate by law because it would be illegal. So they're just using social pressure to get you to cave to it. And you're doing it. You're doing it. So I'm calling on the church to stand up and say no. Have your church service. Oh, and this too. What happened when you did close down the first time around and still today? And when I talk about closed, I'm talking about even if you're online, even if you're having service, but it looks completely different than what it normally would, okay? That's still being closed down. What happened when you did that? People left. Your giving went down. You started struggling financially. You had to cut people's salaries or put them on furlough, you had to start taking government money, right? That's what happened when you obeyed, when you complied. Watch what happens if you open. Watch what happens if you say, you know what, we're going to have a full-on Christmas service. Everyone's welcome. I don't care if you're sick, hacking along, whatever. Everyone's welcome. Watch what happens. The people will flock to your church, and God will reward you. God will reward you if you follow him instead of following these demonic spirits, instead of chasing after government money, instead of chasing after being a community, partner. If you follow what God says, obey God, not man, you will be rewarded. You just look up any of these people that were arrested early on in the first wave of this thing. Okay? The guy down in Louisiana, right? He was arrested, and then what happened? The people of his church, other people, they donated, bailed him out of jail. Probably paid for his lawyer fees. All of it. Rodney Howard-Browne down in Florida. He stayed open. Got arrested, and then what happened? All the charges were dropped because it was illegal, what they did. Arresting him was illegal. All the charges were dropped. Okay? And then what? And now he's doing better than ever. He has more followers, more people coming to his church. Watch what happens when you just obey God. You will be rewarded. I don't know why you can't see that. It's unfortunate. But I'm going to give you a little story too. Because last year, I have these neighbors that are unsaved, and I invited them to the Christmas service at the church that I attended, and they didn't end up going, which is fine. But after COVID this year, these neighbors came to me and initiated a conversation about where we were going to church, because they knew that we were. My son told them that we were trying a different church, and so they came to me. They asked me, these unbelievers, okay, or people that are not saved, came to me and asked me, hey, we heard you're going to a new church, so you're not going to that one that you recommended before? And I had to say, no, we're not, because their response to COVID was horrible. But the new church that we go to is half an hour away, okay? I don't know that I can get unbelievers to go to a church half hour away when, they wouldn't even go to one that was 2 minutes away, okay? And now church is likely to be closed. Let's see what happens with the churches. Are they going to stay open, or are they going to close? Where do I send these people? Where am I supposed to send unsaved people if you all close down? In this time of human need, there's people are freaking out. What is going on? What is this COVID? It's taking over the whole world. This whole control mechanism. And people want to turn to God, and you're closed. You're closed. Where are they supposed to go? Please answer me that. Do something. Open your church. Do not close down for Christmas. It would be a grave mistake. And to Minnesotans in general, you need to do something to say no to this. You need to show that you are not compliant. Go out in public without a mask. Burn your freaking mask, please. Burn it. Watch what happens when you go into a store without a mask. Encourage other people to do it. No one's going to get sick. Nothing bad's going to happen to you. Okay? They're not going to yell at you. And if they do, just tell them the truth. You need to do something. Have 50 families over at your house for Christmas, because Lord knows the church isn't going to have them. So invite the people to your house. Have more. Oh, yeah, that was the other thing. 3 family limit, including the host, for Thanksgiving and Christmas. 3 family limit. And notice how there's no end in sight. There's no end in sight. They don't put an end date on it, besides saying, oh, we're just waiting for a vaccine. So anyone who wants to tell me that I'm being selfish for not wearing a mask and doing my part to slow the spread, what happens when the vaccine comes out? Because that's their solution to ending this nonsense, right? So when I decide not to take the vaccine, because I'm not taking the vaccine, guys, when I decided not to take the vaccine, you're going to tell me I'm selfish then for not doing anything to stop COVID-19? Give me a break. And the church, you're going to do that too, right? Right? Because you're telling people right now that basically it's a sin not to wear a mask. Because our government, rulers said so. So you're telling me it's a sin not to wear a mask. So when they come out with the vaccine, what? It's also a sin not to take the vaccine? Is that what you're going to tell me? Get a clue. Open your Bible. Read Revelation 13, please. Don't sit there and tell me, let's just preach the gospel. Let's just preach the gospel if it's all going down anyway. No, that's a real lazy attitude, okay? Because you are called to fight evil. You are called to suit up with the armor of God, Ephesians 6, okay? And to take a stand against the devil's schemes. If you can't see that this is all an attack on the church, you have no discernment. You are clearly deceived. You're operating in some worldly motivation. Take a stand. You're called to do it. You are called to do it, not just be sweetsy cake with people that are trying to rule over you. Okay? Enough is enough. Do something, Christian. Do something. And please tell me how I'm so, that's not very Christian-like, the way that you're talking, being all, live and animated. Really? You're going to get upset at me for talking like this? When people are literally saying, you're not allowed to go to church? Really? How long are you going to follow a pastor that has no idea or is clearly deceiving you, purposely, intentionally deceiving you about what is going on in the world? And this is just some season that's going to pass. I highly recommend reading the book of Revelation right about now. Okay? And don't do some cop-out move of, Jesus is still on the throne and, we're just all going to get raptured out of this. No, you're called to do something. You're required to do something. Not just sit and wait for the end to come. Do something.